Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Srutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyaama Devaha Bhadram Pakshe Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaye Spuštavagum Sastanubihi Yashema Devahitayadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdhadatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So Namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji. Namaste Guruji.
Namaste, Namaste. So 8th mantra.
Guruji.
Ready to chant?
8.1 Guruji.
Sorry?
8.1, no?
2.1.8.
1.8.
Yeah.
Pranaha.
Sapta pranaha prabhavanti tasmat.
Sapta pranaha prabhavanti tasmat.
Sapta archishah samidhah sapta homah.
Sapta
Sapta ime lokah yeshu charanti.
Sapta ime loka yeshu charanti.
Pranaha guhashaya nihita sapta sapta.
Pranaha guhashaya nihita sapta sapta.
Very good. Today energy levels in chanting are high. Okay. So as I said in the last class, the speciality of this mantra is everything that is talked about here is 7 in count. And in fact, this number 7 is a very significant number from the standpoint of our scriptures representing spiritual and cosmic concepts. In the satsang in the last class, there was an interesting question as to how in every part of the world a week is taken as 7 days. Now, this is a very good question because we don't think about such things, right? So I did some research and found out that early civilizations identified exactly 7 celestial wanderers. They call them wanderers. The Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. How many are there? 2, 4, 6, 7. And they noticed that the lunar cycle takes roughly 4 7-day phases to complete, which was designated as a month. In fact, the word month itself is perhaps derived from the word moon. Therefore, before even the invention of telescopes, etc., it was observed that these 7 celestial bodies moved independently against the backdrop of fixed stars. And this has influenced the foundational concept of astrology and the structure of the cosmos. And this is perhaps the most significant aspect of 7 from the cosmological standpoint. And this mantra, of course, lists a number of aspects of creation connected with the sense perception, which are 7 in number. And Shruti wants to say all these factors are also born of Ishvara. That is the short and sweet message. And thereafter, we entered into a discussion on the word meanings of the mantra. The first set of sense organs mentioned in the mantra is Sapta Prana. And this statement was a bit intriguing because all along we have been talking about only 5 pranas, 5 sense organs. Then it was clarified that from a Shastric point of view, the 7 apertures on the face, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and 1 tongue, or 1 mouth, you can say, all of them function independently, even though we generally believe that 3 of them operate in pairs. And therefore, 7 pranas or 7 sense organs is a more accurate description of the organs of perception. And in this context, I also explained about Mukhya Prana and Gauna Prana. Then the next word we were discussing was Sapta Archishaha. Archishaha means flame. And we have been introduced to the names of the 7 flames in Mantra 1.2.4, where the 7 flames which were compared to the tongues of Agni. I will not repeat all of them. Anybody wants to refresh his or her memory can revisit the notes of the Mantra 1.2.4. Then the next word, Samidaha, is there. We have to read it as Sapta Samidaha, 7-fold fuels. And what are these 7-fold fuels? Each of these 7-fold objects of these 7 sense organs are considered as Samid, fuel. So when we have accepted that there are 7 organs, then we should not have any problem in accepting the 7 objects of perception also. Each object corresponding to each sense organ. So Sapta Samidaha. That means what? Even though we say Rupam, that is color and shape, eyes are the means of knowledge for them. We can say right eye Rupa hai and left eye Rupa hai. So similarly, Granam, right nostril Grana hai, left nostril Grana hai. Like that, we can count 7 in number. So 7 flames are there, 7-fold fuels are there. And what has to follow now? When all these things are there, flames, fuel, etc., naturally, Sapta Homas have to follow, 7 types of Homas. And interestingly, this word Homa, we have used, left, right, and center. But What exactly does it mean? What does the word homa mean? A homa is defined in the Shastra as Devata Uddeshena Vanhav Mantra Dwara Gritadi Twagrupa Gritadi Tyagarupa Havanam Homam. So Devata Uddeshena Vannav Mantra Dwara Gritadi Tyagarupa Havanam Homam. So Homam is a particular type of yajna called Deva Yajna. We have talked about Panchamaha Yajnas. In that, one of the methods to perform the Deva Yajna is called Homam. Mind you, it is not the only method, it's one of the methods. So offering of ghee, etc., or any fuel along with the mantras into the fire, keeping the devatas in the mind for offering the oblations is called a homam. This is the definition of homam. So Sapta Homa means 7 homas. So the sevenfold perception or the sevenfold knowledge gained through Sapta Prana is called Sapta Homa. All this we have to visualize the situation. When I see an object, ghata, a pot, then that knowledge of ghata is offered into this archisha, the flame, shining, the flame of what? Shining chidabhasa. And through the sense organ, the eye, the prana, and then the corresponding vritti is formed along with chidabhasa chaitanyam. So you must understand, it's all, poetic description. When we see an object with an eye, say the color of the object or the shape of the object, they are offered into the eyes. So they are what? They are the oblations being offered. And merely not eyes, the sight faculty. The sight faculty which is actually enlivened by the Chidabhasa, the reflected consciousness. And once that happens, a thought is formed in the mind. The thought of the shape or the color of that object is formed in the mind. And that thought also is illumined by the Chidabhasa, Chaitanya. So that is how the process of knowledge takes place. All these things are very interesting because normally we will never think about all those things. Okay, I see this color, that color, and what is the process which happens? How do I recognize that color? In fact, there is one more step, which is earlier on some occasion, that particular color which you are seeing now is already, the knowledge of that color is gained and it is stored in the chitta. And then when you see this new color, let us say it is red color, you see. I explained how that, vritti jnanam takes place. Now, along with the vritti jnanam, to identify it as red color, what the mind does, it immediately goes to the chit, to the storehouse or the hard disk, and then retrieves, okay, which is the equivalent color of this what I am seeing. Then immediately they give a word, it's a red color. Today, artificial intelligence is doing all these things. And artificial intelligence has come into the picture because natural intelligence is slowly vanishing. So, this Chidabhasa Sahita Jnana Vritti or Vishayakara Vritti is called Homaha. So, here we must understand the word Homaha refers to the thought modification, Indriya Vritteya, which are generated in the mind. So, Sapta Homa is what? Shabda Vritti, Sparsha Vritti, Rupa Vritti, etc. And there are 7 fuels, 7 apertures, 7 homas. So here the vrittis, the thought modifications are called homaha. Sapta homaha because pranas are 7. 7 pranas, 7 fuels, 7 homas. Then the mantra says Sapta ime lokaha. There are 7 lokas. Ime means these. And these means which are very much available for a person to see, to feel, to experience. So here the word loka refers to the golaka. See how beautifully the Upanishad is actually comparing all this process to a homa. So what are the golakas? They are homa kundas. So earlier prana referred to the sense organs. And here loka refers to golakas, which are this physical seat of the sense organ. So golaka is a part of stula sharira, whereas sense organs, the sense faculties, are part of sukshma sharira. So loka are the physical counterpart of prana . So there are sapta prana and corresponding to them there are sapta loka . And the Upanishad then specifies what are these sapta loka, these golakas. It says, Yeshu charanti prana . Yeshu means in which. Means in which prana charanti, move about or operate. So these golakas are those in which the pranas, the sense organs, are moving about. That means the sense organs are operating or functioning. So 7 golakas are there. 7 sense organs or sense faculties are there. 7-fold chidabhasa are there. 7 type of samidha fuels are there. And 7 types of homas are there. Now there can be a question. We say Atma is one, that is Bimba Chaitanya is one. So how can we say Chidabhasa are 7? It's a very, because Chidabhasa means what? Reflected consciousness, isn't it? When Atma, that consciousness itself is one, how can there be 7 reflected consciousness? In Tattva Bodha itself, we have seen the example of the reflection of one sun on many broken pieces of mirror, which makes it appear that there are many suns. Therefore, the Bimba Chaitanya manifesting as reflecting consciousness as many Pratibimba Chaitanya, it is counted here as 7. It is like a lamp inside a pot which has got 7 holes. And from that lamp, the beams will come out through the holes. And suppose you imagine that each hole was having a different color. Some color paper was pasted, that in dramas and all they use, cellophane paper or what they call, transparent paper, but color paper. Suppose each hole it is pasted. Then there will be 7 types of different color beams coming from the pot. And this idea, Bhashyakara gives in Dakshinamurti Stotram. Nana Chidra Ghatodharastita Mahadhipa Prabha Bhaswaram Jnanam Yasya Tu Chakchuradikaranad Dvara Bahispandate. Beautiful lines. And that is how we have to understand 7 Chidabhasas. Then the mantra says Guhashaya Vihita hai. Sorry, Nihita hai. Nihita hai means resting, embedded, placed in Guhashaya. Guha literally means a cave or a cavity. Guhashaya means the cave of the heart. And these pranas are resting in the heart. They are operating in the Golakas, but when their job is over, they go back to the heart for resting. So the heart is the bedroom, a resting place for the faculties of eyes, ears, etc. And the Golakas are the office where they operate. And when the operation is over, that means the job is over, then they go back to the heart. So all these are Sapta are available for discovery in the cave of the heart. And all these are placed in the cave of the heart by whom? They are placed by Ishvara, Maya Sahita Brahman, Saguna Brahman, who has been referred to as Purusha in these mantras. So all these Sapta, 7 things mentioned in this mantra are also born of Ishvara only. That is the message. So now we will go into the Bhashyam. We will read, again not a long Bhashyam, just 2 paragraphs. So you can all unmute. Kincha, Kincha, Tapta Shirshanyah,
Saptashirshanyah
Pranah Tasmad,
Tasmad
Eva Purushad,
Eva Purushat
Prabhavanti,
Bhavanti
Teshancha,
Teshancha
Sapta Archishah,
Saptarchishah
Deeptayah,
Deeptayah
Swavishayavat,
Swavishayavat
Vishya Tadnatani.
Savisayad
I'm trying to split
Vadyotani.
that. But I think Vishayavat Dhyotanani, Swavishayavat
Savisayad
Dhyotanani.
Dhyotanani.
Swadvishayavat Dyotadanani
Correct. Tata Sapta Samidaha,
Tata Saptamidaha
Sapta Vishayaha,
Saptavishayah
Vishayairhi,
Vishayaihi
Samidhyante Pranaha,
समिद्यन्ते प्राणाः
सप्तहोमाः
सप्तहोमाः
तद्विषयविज्ञानानि
तद्विषयविज्ञानानि
यदस्य विज्ञानम्
यदस्य
यस्य
विज्ञानं
विज्ञानं
तज्जुहोति
तज्जुहोति
इति श्रुत्यन्तरात्
इति
इति श्रुत्यन्तरात्
किञ्च
किञ्च
सप्त इमे लोकाः
सप्तैमे
लोकाः
इन्द्रियस्थानानि
इन्द्रियस्थानानि
येषु चरन्ते
येषु चरन्ति
चरन्ते
सञ्चरन्ति प्राणाः
सञ्चरन्ति प्राणाः
प्राणाः येषु चरन्ति
प्राणाः येषु चरन्ति
इति प्राणानाम्
इति
प्राणानां
विशेषणमिदम्
विशेषणमिदम्
प्राणापानादि
प्राणापानादि
निवृत्त्यर्थम्
निवृत्त्यर्थम्
गुहायां शरीरे हृदये वा
गुहायां शरीरे
एवा
स्वापकाले
पापकाले
चेरते इति
शेरते इति
गुहाशयाः
गुहाशयाः
निहिताः
निहिताः
स्थापिता धात्रा
स्थापिता दात्रा
सप्त सप्त
सप्त सप्त
प्रतिपाणि भेदम्
प्रतिपाणिभेदम्
प्राणिभेदम्
प्रतिपाणिभेदम्
यानि च
यानि च
आत्मयाजिनाम्
आत्मयाजिनां
विदुषाम्
विदुषाम्
कर्माणि
कर्माणि
कर्मफलानि च
कर्मफलानि च
अविदुषां च
अविदुषां च
कर्माणि
कर्माणि
तत्साधनानि
तत्साधनानि
कर्मफलानि च
कर्मफलानि च
सर्वं चैतत्
सर्वं चैतत्
परस्मादेव
परस्मादेव
पुरुषात्
पुरुषात्
सर्वज्ञात्
सर्वज्ञानात्
प्रसूतमिति
प्रसूतमिति
प्रकरणार्थः
प्रकरणार्थः
Very good.
Good.
So Bhashyakara takes up the first quarter of the mantra.
Yeah.
Sapta pranaha prabhavanti tasmat, for explanation. He says, Kincha sapta shirshanyaha pranaha tasmat eva purushat prabhavanti. Kincha means moreover, indicating that the topic of the previous mantra, that Ishvara is Jagat Karanam, continues. We have seen this word Kincha number of times. Bhashyakara uses that. I think I will, if somebody is unmuted, I will mute all. Okay. Okay. So as he says, Sapta Pranaha has to be understood as Sapta Shirshanyaha Pranaha. Strictly speaking, Shirshaha means head. And generally, it refers to the whole portion above the neck. That is the head and the face region. It's called Shirshaha. That is why there is a word called Shirashchedah. Shirashchedah means cutting the whole portion above the neck. This used to be a punishment in the olden times. Raja, Maharaja and all those times, they used to have Shiracheda for capital punishment. So it is not just cutting only the head portion. Normally what we in English we call head. The whole, this portion above the neck is called Shiras. So Shirasi bhava hai, Shirshanya hai. So the entire face portion is called Shirshanya hai. And Sapta Prana hai are located in the face region. As we saw, we find 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils and 1 mouth. All in the face region. That is what is indicated here. And Bhashyakara says, don't forget the refrain, the Pallavi. Tasmadeva Purushat Prabhavanti. So they are all born of Ishvara Purusha. Tasmad, from that Purushat eva. Purusha Maya Saita Chaitanyam alone. Prabhavanti, they are all born. So Ishvara is the Karanam for these Sapta Pranas also. Then he says, Tesham cha Sapta Archisha. So all these 7 pranas, these apertures, 7 apertures, can be visualized as Homakundam, as I said. They are the Golakas. They can be visualized as Homakundams. And we have to visualize that we are all performing yagas. And we have got 7 Homakundams. And in the Homakundams, flames are shooting forth. And therefore, Sapta Archisha, 7 flames are there. And in what form are they? Bhashyakara explains, Deeptayaha Swavishayavadhyotanani. They are 7-fold lights. Deeptihi means light. Deeptaya is plural, so lights. So what are those lights? Avadhyotanani. Avadhyotanam means Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. Pratibimba Chaitanyani. And what do they do? Swavishaya avadhyotanani. They illumine their respective objects. And why it is said Swavishaya? Because each Chidabhasa has the power to illumine only that particular object relating to that particular sense organ. The Chidabhasa coming from the eyes is Rupa or Varna Avadhyotanam. Chidabhasa coming from the ears is Shabda Avadhyotanam, and so on. So now Sapta Prana, 7 Homakundas are there, and Sapta Archisha are there. And there are 7 flames in the Homakunda. What next? We need fuel for the fire to be well kindled, isn't it? Normal Homa, the fuel, samit, we offer that in the fire. The sticks, the thin wooden sticks. That is offered as oblations. So in this case, what are the samida have? Bhashyakara says, Tatha sapta samida hai, sapta vishaya hai. In the Moolam, only samida hai is there. Sapta samida hai is not there. But since everything is relating to Homa is 7, we have to imagine the fuel has also got to be 7, because there are 7 independent, distinct objects for each of the seven sense organs, each of the seven golakas. And therefore, Bhashyakara supplies that word, Sapta Samidaha. So he says, Tatha, similarly, Sapta Samidaha, seven fuels. And what are they? They are in the form of seven sense objects, that is, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha, each corresponding to the respective pair of sense organs, and Rasa relating to the tongue. So these sense objects are in the form of fuel being offered as oblations into the Chidabhasa flame coming out of the sense organs. All poetic symbolism. So how do we understand in practical terms? For example, we sit down to watch or listen to the news in the TV or radio. And you have switched on the TV and you are waiting for the news. And until the news comes, the Chidabhasa is general Chidabhasa, isn't it? It has not become a particular knowledge. And when the news item falls into Chidabhasa and a vritti is formed, then the general Chidabhasa becomes specific Chidabhasa. That specific Chidabhasa is called Jnanam. Therefore, Vishaya Jnanam will emerge forth only when the objects are offered into the general Chidabhasa. Only then it becomes specific Chidabhasa called Gatagyanam, Patagyanam, the knowledge of different objects. And therefore Bhashyakara says, Vishayehi hi samidhyante pranaha. He says prana, the seven sense organs or the homakundams are samidhyante, are kindled. Samidhyante means kindled, passive voice. And what are the kindled materials? The seven homakundams are well kindled by sevenfold sense objects, and therefore being the cause, hetuarte, the sense objects are called the fuel. And that is why in Shivamanasa Puja we see Atma tvam girijamatihi sahacaraha pranaha shariram griham pujate vishayopabhoga rachana. That whole Shivamanasa Puja is nothing but offering a puja to Bhagavan Shiva. But it is a Vedantic text. And all this explanation in the Mundakopanishad is what probably inspires such shlokas. So the offerings are made in the form of sense objects through all the sense organs. So samidhyante pranaha. Sense objects are offered as fuel into the Chidabhasa, the fire. In the pranaha, indriyani, the sense organs. Then the word saptahomaha is there in the Moolam. Bhashyakara says, Tat Vishaya Vijnanani. Yadasya Vijnanam Tajjuhoti iti Shrutyantarat. So, seven offerings or seven types of sacrifices is called Homa. And in this case, what is a Homa? When the sense object is offered and the Chidabhasa comes into contact with the sense object, when the Chidabhasa and the object come together, in the Antakaranam, the Vishayakara Vritti arises. And I referred to this as a specific Chidabhasa in the TV or radio news example. Until the object contacts the Chidabhasa is general Chidabhasa. Only when the object falls within the Chidabhasa, the thought modification takes place in the form of an object in the Antakarana. And Vrittigyanam, specific knowledge of the object, takes place. And Bhashakara here says this Jnana Vritti is called Homa hai. And therefore, Sapta Homa hai, Tad Vishaya Vijnanani. Here the word Vijnanam means Jnana Vrittaya. That is Shabda Vritti, Rupa Vritti, Sparsha Vritti, etc. They are all sacrifices or oblations. And Bhashakara immediately adds, he said, this is not my interpretation. It is said in another Upanishad called Mahanarayana Upanishad. Yad asya vijnanam tajjuhoti. Mahanarayana Upanishad, mantra 25.1. Yad asya vijnanam means the jnana vritti or specific knowledge or objective knowledge is called vijnanam, which is formed only after Chidabhasa comes in contact with the object. So until the newsreader starts, the Chidabhasa is not associated with any specific vritti. I am assuming that before the news there is no signature tune played and all that. If it is all played, then they also become separate vrittis. Because when you are observing with the eyes, hearing with the ears the tune and this thing is there, logo, etc. They are also vritti. But I am assuming they are all not there. Suppose it is, even in radio, it used to be there, isn't it? Some beautiful tune were there, All India Radio. So, because that is to alert the people, okay, now the news is going to start, pay attention. So, only when the news with here are the headlines, first headline is given out, specific vritti comes. And there is Chidabhasa Sahita vritti, that shining vritti, sentient vritti is called Homa. Therefore, the Mahanarayana Upanishad says, Tat Juhoti. Juhoti means Homam Karoti. That specific sensory knowledge alone is the regular sacrifice that a person is performing. Bhashyakara says, Iti Shrutiyantarat. Iti Shrutiyantarat means it is said thus in another Shruti referring to Mahanarayana Upanishad. Thus, we have got another Upanishad helping us to interpret this mantra. And why that is important? Because whenever we are placing any argument, or let us say in a court of law, a particular law point is being made, the lawyers or advocates will make it a point to say that how they are interpreting the law has already been, that interpretation has been taken in some other case. And they will quote it as a precedent. So that requesting this judge also to follow the precedent and not enter into his own interpretation. In legal jurisprudence, is a very important aspect. So 7 sense organs, 7 sensory flames, 7 sense objects, 7 sensory knowledge, all these are all born out of Brahman. We can connect all these things with the first sentence, Tasmadeva Purushat Prabhavanti. And then what happens? Bhashyakara goes into the third part of the mantra. सप्त इमे लोका है येषु चरन्ति प्राणा है. Again he says kincha, moreover. सप्त इमे लोका है. इंद्रियस्थानानि येषु चरन्ति संचरन्ति प्राणा है. So in this quarter, the mantra talks about Sapta Loka hai. And here Bhashyakara says that the word Loka hai should not be taken in the conventional sense. And normally, Loka hai means different worlds, 7 up and 7 down, isn't it? Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, etc. And Atala, Sutala, Patala, etc. But in this context, the physical location, otherwise called golakams, of the sense organs is called loka hai, indriya golakani. And why do we call it loka hai? Because taking the popular meaning of loka as worlds, we say people dwell in the worlds. Here the sense organs, the indriyani, dwell in the golakam. And therefore the golakams are called loka hai. So the 7 sense organs dwell in 7 golakams, 7 apertures, which are called loka hai. And that Bhashyakara says indriyasthanani, the physical location of the sense organs. And what is the speciality of these golakams? In these golakams alone, the sense organs move about or operate during the waking hours. So he says, Yeshu charanti sancharanti prana hai. Yeshu means golakeshu, indriyasthaneshu. Charanti is equal to sancharanti. Sancharanti literally means roam about. Here we can take the meaning as operate. The prana hai, the sense organs operate. And as usual, Bhashyakara wants to doubly ensure that we understand the word prana in this context, refer to the sense organs only and not to pancha pranas. In legal language, especially in the in contract documents, etc., this phrase is often used for the removal of any doubts. A point which is already made is reiterated. And Bhashyakara is adopting that approach. He says, prana hai yeshu charanti iti prananam visheshanamidham pranapanadi nivrityartham. We have already discussed in the last class about Mukhya Prana and Gauna Prana. Mukhya Prana refers to Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Here the word Prana is not used in the sense of the main and popular meaning, but it is used in the secondary meaning. So he says that when it is said in the mantra Yeshu Charanti Prana hai, there could be a doubt in the mind of the student as to which prana is being referred to, whether Mukhya Prana hai or Gauna Prana hai. Especially when the student might have forgotten what was discussed earlier. And in our class, that is a very distinct possibility because we are holding the class only once a week. If it had been continuous every day also, we can expect, okay, yesterday's memory will be retained. And also, if the student is totally committed to the learning, he will only learn this and retain it in the memory, like what we used to have in the Gurukulam. But then what happens with us? 1 hour of class on a Monday, then next 7 days we are free to do. The Golakams and the Indriyams are all active in all other fields except Upanishads. So all the memory of the Upanishad will get overlaid by other memories. And therefore, there is a possibility. I'm not saying you are all like that. I mean, but there is a possibility some students may have forgotten what was discussed earlier. So Bhashyakara shows compassion to such students and says, Pranaha yeshu charanti, and he puts these words within inverted commas because he is quoting the Upanishad. So within inverted commas, he says Pranaha yeshu charanti, means the sense organs are moving about. In which golakams? Iti, in this manner. Prananam visheshanam idam. This is the specification of pranas, or this is the specific description of pranas, the sense organs. For what purpose? Pranapanadi nivrityartham. Nivrityartham means for excluding or negating the possibility of erroneously taking the meaning of prana as prana panadi, prana apana, etc. etc. indicates vyana, udana, samana. So that meaning is not to be taken here, but only the meaning as sense organ is to be taken. For that purpose only, this particular expression, prana yeshu charanti, is given in the mantra for understanding the meaning of lokas. So these golakas are those in which pranas are moving about, and that particular description will fit only when this prana means sense organs. Because prana, panadi are moving about in our body, not in the seven apertures or golakas. So prana, panadi nivrityartham, the words prana yeshu charanti is said in the mantra. Now Bhashyakara next takes up the last section of the mantra. Guhashaya nihita hai sapta sapta. And guhashayam sharire hridaye va swapakale sherate iti guhashaya hai. Then nihita hai, he explains as thapita hai dhatra sapta sapta pratipani bedam. First he explains what is meant by guhashaya. He gives the etymological meaning, derivation. So guhayam sherate iti guhashaya. Sherate means to sleep, to be rested. Shi dhatu, which means to sleep, to rest. Contextually, we can say to be discovered in the guha. Guha means cave or cavity, as I already said. So guhashaya means either you can take it which sleep in the cave, or we can take to be discovered in the cave or cavity. And what is the cavity referred to here? He says sharire hridaye va swapakale. Now what is the cave? Bhashyakara says that we can take it as the body or the heart. Sharire hridayeva. We can take it either way. Our eyebrows will go up in mild disapproval. How can both be correct? Bhashyakara says both are correct because during waking hours, during Jagrat Avastha, when they are active, when they are functioning, they can be discovered in the Golakams, which is a part of Stula Sharira. And during sleep, during the sleep state, they rest in the Hridayam, the cave of the heart, which is the part of Sukshma Sharira. So, Sharire Hridaye va Swapakale Sherate. Swapakale means during sleep state. And who are being referred to here? We have to supply prana hai. So the 7 pranas, the 7 indriyas, the 7 sense organs can be discovered in the body during waking state, and they can be discovered in the Hridaya Guha, the cave of the heart, during sleep, deep sleep, because at that time the 7 pranas are resolved, although temporarily. So here the physical ast is supposed to be the Golakam or Layasthanam for the sense organs in sleep. Now Bhashyakara takes up the last 2 expressions in the Moolam, which are Nihita hai Sapta Sapta. He says Nihita hai Stapita Dhatra Sapta Sapta Pratipani Bhedam. Nihita hai means Brahmaji, the creator, has placed, or a better translation would be Brahmaji has provided. So Nihita means provided by Brahmaji. And Bhashyakara translates as Stapita, places or placed or provided. Provided by whom? Dhatra means the creator or supporter. Since Brahmaji has created the universe, he is called Dhatra. Then Sapta Sapta, all these which have been said to be 7, 7, have been placed by the creator in the body. The repetition of the word Sapta indicates in each and every. So in each and every human being, all these 7 things have been placed by the creator. And not just human bodies, but Bhashyakara says Pratipa Prani Bedam in each and every specific individual living being. Pratipani means each and every, Pratiprani means each and every living beings. Vedaha means specific. So all these 7 things have been placed by the creator and each and every specific living being. With this, the commentary of the mantra is over. Now Bhashyakara gives the essence of the topic discussed so far, so that we don't lose sight of the main point. As I said, otherwise there is a possibility or a risk that we may get lost in the details of prana, samed, homa, golakas, etc. Because in all these discussions, we should not lose sight of the sense of purpose. And that is something we have to learn from Bhashyakara. He always adds something to remind us that this topic is discussed not to give the details of Homa, etc., but it is meant for showing that everything is born of Ishvara. Therefore, he says, Yanicha Atmayajinam Vidusham Karmani Karmaphalani cha Avidusham cha Karmani Tatsadhanani Karmaphalani cha Sarvam cha etat Parasmadeva Purushat Sarvajnat Prasutamiti Prakaranartha. So he says, all actions means all karmas, whether it is Jyotisham Yajna, Jyotishtoma Yajna, or Agnihotra, or Dashapurnamasa, all these karmas are accessories for karma and karma phalam. The 3 things, karma, accessories for karma, and the results of karma, are all born of Ishvara. This we have already seen earlier. This is prakaranartha, this is the purpose. This is the essence of this particular section. This section where Srishti is being talked about. So in the course of the discussion on Srishti, prakaranartha, the topic of creation, all these 3 are born of Ishvara. Therefore, the main sentence is Sarva Sarvam cha etat parasmadeva purushat prasutamiti. That is the main sentence. Now let us see the meaning of this sentence. I think the time is over. We will see the meaning of this sentence in the next class, and then we will go to the next mantra. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavad everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Karam Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji, Dhanyawada.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank
Hari Om.
you. Hari Om.
Even rainbow has got 7 colors.
Yeah. Rainbow has got 7 colors. I told the last class, no, rainbow, so many seven things we can find.
Exactly.
7 wonders of the world also.
7 wonders of the world.
Well, correct.
Correct. In fact, we can go on adding. If you think about it, that number 7, a very common, it will occur everywhere, rather, isn't it?
Correct.
That is a very significant cosmological number.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Hari Om.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om. No hands are going up. So it looks like there are no questions. Shall we then close the class?
Yeah.
Okay. Hari Om, everybody. We'll
Hari Om, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Thank you.
Guruji. Thank you.